It is now time to experience the buzz, a podcast that takes an inside look at amazing people doing amazing things. Get ready for some great conversation that will be fascinating, educational, and inspiring. We will also leave room to help small businesses in a big way. Now, here's your host, entrepreneur Steve Buzzard.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Experience the Buzz. Here we are, episode number 112. And yes, we are going to venture outside of Sacramento, California. SC, well, I've got a different SC for you. I have got someone from South Carolina. His name is Ben Landers, and he is known as the PE specialist. Now, I was a PE teacher for 26 years. And as a PE teacher or any teacher, you are always looking for great resources. Well, look no further, and I am so honored to have someone like Ben Landers on our program. We're going to talk about a lot of things in today's episode. So glad you could be here. Year number 3, we're having so much fun. It's now time for What's the Buzz? Well, we got some big news to report. As you know, we started this podcast back in January of 2021. It was audio only. Yes, we can be found on Apple and Spotify and Google, or you can just go to my website, buzzardball.com, and find it there. But the cool thing is I brought in a producer by episode 80, which I believe was, Chemo and Dakota. Of Fruit Frenzy. That's right, because we did an audio and we did our first video, and now we have a YouTube channel. And because of that, guess what? We've got over 500 subscribers. Awesome. That's something to applaud right there. Good stuff. So I just want to thank each and every one of you. Subscribing is very simple. A lot of people think there's a tag like, okay, what is there something going on here? No, it's very simple in that you just get alerted to new material that's coming out. Now, we try to be very consistent with what we put out there and do it on a weekly basis. So the podcast episode, both audio and video, usually comes out every Friday. Now, we have a different segment that is called First Look for the lovers of heavy metal out there. We have taken off with that, and it's been a lot of fun. We've recorded and posted about 50 of those episodes, and I am an aficionado of heavy metal myself, so you could check that out as well. So anyways, just wanted to say thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, because a lot of you come on board and maybe haven't subscribed, just subscribe. It's that simple, okay? Really helps us, and of course, we love bringing the material to you. So let's go ahead and get ready for today's episode. Again, it's Ben Landers. He is a certified PE teacher, K through 5. He is out of South Carolina, but why I'm bringing this guy on is because he does so much more. Okay, he has his own website, his own YouTube channel, he's got a podcast, and he's also got a membership that he offers PE teachers. And why I'm intrigued by this is because this is a space that I'm looking to go into with the stuff that I've done in my career, and I'm thinking I can't think of anybody better that I'd like to talk to. So without further ado, it's Ben Landers. Enjoy the conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome in. It is Experience the Buzz. I'm your host, Steve Buzzard, and I am so glad you have joined us for another episode. Now, with ETB, a lot of you that are listeners out there, you know that usually I keep things within the Sacramento city, right? We highlight entrepreneurs, small business owners, and just like personalities of the capital city. But I did tell you that there are going to be times where I'm going to kind of venture out. You know, there's so many great people, and everybody has a story. And so today, I have to tell you, it is truly an honor to have our guest on. He is Ben Landers. He is known as the PE specialist, and he lives in, are you ready for this? South Carolina. That's right. You're like, what? South Carolina? And so, Ben, before we get into it, welcome to the program. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, just a PE teacher, you know, but it's not just that. You've done so much with it, and I do want to applaud you for the work that you have done, because not only can I tell that you are a great PE teacher for the kids that get to come through your classroom, you've taken it the next level. Like, you truly have been a mentor. You were a mentor for me. So the quick connection is that Ben, he does videos. He kind of covers the whole gamut. YouTube channel, does a podcast. He has his website, does a blog, has a membership program. And I was telling Ben before we came on that about 5 years ago, I just jumped on board. I found him and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to embrace everything he does. And it was so fun those last couple years of teaching PE. So I guess the first question is this something you always wanted to do? How did you become a PE teacher? Give me that story.
Yeah, man. I was definitely always into sports, always active, always moving, but I would have never in a million years believed that I would end up in a school system if you told me that when I was a kid. I was like, never even thought twice about it. I was trying to get out of school as quick as possible. But my original plan going into school or going into college was to I went in as a business major. I was planning on getting a degree in business and start my own business. I had a few ideas, like really I just wanted to do some kind of ecotourism thing where I was leading backpacking trips and surfing trips, and I just thought that would be a fun way to launch a business, and you could live somewhere cool and kind of travel around and meet cool people. But after like one semester of business school, I just felt like it was such a waste of all of my time and money, and I just started looking at other options and things that, like, to get a business degree to start a business. When I started thinking more about it, I'm like, man, why do you need a degree to start a business? Like, it's not like they check you at the door when you start your LLC. You just go and file papers, like $50. So I was looking at programs where it's like you actually have to have a certification, and out of the programs where you don't have to sit at a desk all day, there were very slim amount of programs. So PE kind of pops up on the radar. I've always worked with kids and like enjoyed working with kids. I was a young life leader in college, so I was already working with high school kids.
Okay.
And I thought originally I was going to be a high school teacher once I got into the phys ed program. That was kind of my plan. But then just through student teaching and getting more experience working in high schools and elementary schools, I pretty quickly realized that elementary was going to be my best fit to be able to kind of build the program that I wanted. So I think it was like 3 major changes into PE. But once I got into the schools and actually got to teach kids, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. I think I could do this for a career. So stuck with it, man.
Awesome.
I'm on year 16 right now.
That is so cool. Yeah, so 2007, it all began. And my question to you, because you're at River Springs Elementary in South Carolina, is that the first and only school that you've been at, or have you bounced around to kind of figure out your spot?
Yeah, so I taught in a summer program for like a few months at an inner city school in Columbia, and then my first like full-time job out of school was traveling between River Springs and one other school. So I was actually they call it your home school, which is the school that you're like based in. Was a different school called Lake Murray Elementary, which is actually where Marcus is now, if you know Marcus from our podcast, and he kind of helps me with the site and stuff. So he's at Lake Murray now, and that was my first job for 3 years, was traveling between those two schools. So it was pretty cool to like see 2 programs. You get to see 2 ways of doing things, 2 administrations, 2 phys ed programs. And so it kind of helped me get a bigger picture of what I wanted and what I didn't want, So it was a great start for those first 3 years. And then the 4th year, the teacher that was at River Springs retired, so I was able to interview for that spot and land it. So I've been there ever since.
That's great. So Tell me about those first couple years, and this is not just PE, this is any teacher that gets into the game, right? You're so excited, you go through the certification, and now you're teaching. But as we know, and especially, you said you've been in it 16 years and stuff, it is, and even for me, like 26, I remember year 1, there weren't as many resources as they are now, which is great having you on, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. But those first couple of years for yourself, what were those like trying to develop something that you could call your own?
Man, it's just survival. I think if you talk to any first, second, or third year teacher, it's like you just try to survive. Like, because student teaching is great, but spending 6 weeks with a teacher, depending on how good your mentor teacher was, like, it's not going to prepare you for a full year of curriculum where you're the one that has to like be in charge of the grades, be in charge of the discipline, contacting parents, all the extra programs like field day and all these fundraisers and things like that. For me, it was really a blessing for me to be able to start as an itinerant teacher, because since I was the part-time person, there was a full-time teacher at both schools, and I was just filling in for the extra kids that they couldn't schedule in. So we'd have like double classes in the gym on the days I was there. So it was a really great situation because I was kind of more of a support. I came in, and I won't say I never had to be the one that was in charge, because they would be like, hey, will you plan the gymnastics unit, and like, what are your thoughts? We would brainstorm stuff. But for the most part, I came in, the first one teacher that I was with was 60 years old. She had been teaching like, I don't know, 20 plus years. The other one was also like almost 20 years of experience. So they were very experienced. They had a really good idea of what they wanted to do, and I'm a first year teacher. So I was like, hey, here's a cool idea. We might want to work this in, but like, I'll just follow your plan. You've done this so many times. Like, let's just do it your way. And then, so I kind of just did that for a few years. But that third year, I was really just ready to get my own thing. Like, I was like, yeah, cool. I see how you do it. I see how you do it. I've got a lot of ideas where I want to like be the one that gets to like create my own culture and create my own program. So
yes,
I was interviewing around at other schools before I even knew that the job was going to be opening up at River Springs. I was like ready to get somewhere full time at that point.
Okay, so talk about that, because like it's almost like you had your kind of your mentorship for this first couple of years. Always good to get experience from others. Like you said, you draw, the things that are good. You're like, yeah, I could incorporate that. You definitely throw out the things that are bad, and then everything else you make your own. So you get that opportunity. You come to River Springs and see, this is where the hairs will start standing up. Your gym, right? It's your home. Yep. And so talk about that as you really started to develop, like, this is going to be my place. This is going to be my program. That had to be very exciting for you to finally have ownership and the creative juices to make this happen.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It's interesting going from a situation where you're kind of the support to all of a sudden, like, you're the one that has to be in charge, And I stayed a lot later that first 2 years where I was full-time at River Springs, because I was like, I got to be the one that is driving this whole thing. But it's cool just because you get to be all in. When I was part-time at two schools, it's like I wanted to be all in, but I couldn't be, because it was just like I only knew probably 25% of the kids at both schools, and I was always back and forth, and I could barely keep up with like which school I was supposed to be at each day. So it was hard to like learn everybody's names, get to know the staff, and when you're at one school, it's just really nice to be able to invest fully in knowing every kid's name and knowing all the staff, and figuring out where everybody's at with their family situations, and being a positive force in the community that your little school community. And that's when we so the way it worked out was just pretty incredible. Marcus is like one of my best PE friends. He helps me with my website and business. We do a podcast together. And my third year teaching, I got certified by University of South Carolina to accept student teachers. And he was my very first student teacher.
Nice.
So I think, let's see, I was 24, I guess, at that time.
Wow.
And he was also 20. We're the same age, but he just was in the master's program. And he's like a collegiate basketball athlete. He's been to the Elite Eight. Immediately, like, we just hit it off. We're like, dude, we have got to find a way to work together, Yeah. So when I was interviewing for the River Springs job, I called him. I was like, yo, if I get this job, you can interview for my position, which is what you student taught in. And we work together for 2 days a week, man. It'd be like a dream team, And so then that ended up happening. He ends up getting the job. We worked together for 6 years. Like, he would come 2 days a week to River Springs, and he was at Lake Murray the other days. So that was awesome, man, because it just he was fresh in, and I was like 3 years in, so pretty fresh. I had all these ideas. We brainstormed them together. We got to really create like a cool culture and start a new program on our own. So it was a lot of fun. So that's kind of how we started off.
Yeah. Here's where the business acumen comes in. And by the way, let's reset. Ben Landers, K-5 PE. He's in South Carolina, but he's known as the PE specialist. And the reason we're doing this background is it's going to lead into what really is the meat and potatoes of today's episode, because what he has done with the business side of it has been nothing short of amazing. And so you, at 2007, boom, you're getting your reps in as a teacher, you're building something. Then 2014 hits, right? And you got this idea. and something starts to come about. And it seems like that business thing that maybe you left behind was still there, because in my mind, it seemed to me, and just based on what I've seen and what you do, like you are an entrepreneur. But what's cool about what you do is you're doing it within one space. You know, there's entrepreneurs like myself, multiple things. We could do multiple things. You are doing it in one space. And I have so much respect for that, because your passion like oozes out of what you do. So talk about what happened in 2014, the shift from going, not just teaching PE, creating a cool culture, but taking it a step further.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So it was actually probably before, like pretty much as soon as me and Marcus started working together, we were making videos and putting them on PE Universe, which was, and like you were saying at the beginning, there was no resources out there. There was like one website I knew of, no social media, PE resources, anything like that. I didn't know any people online. You would buy a book at a conference that had some games in it, and that was kind of where you would get new ideas from and stuff like that. So PE Universe is this new website that comes on. It's kind of like a YouTube version for just PE. So we would upload some games and stuff to that site. But it was so frustrating because I would make this HD like 1080p video, but then as soon as I uploaded to the site, it was like 360 pixels and you could barely see anything. I was like, man, what happened to my video? So the whole time, pretty much since I started teaching, I have done side businesses like side photography, shooting weddings, doing highlight films for companies and stuff like that. And I just have always loved making videos and working with camera. So I was also, like you said, I've always been interested in business, always reading self-help, self-development, business books. Had also, I can't remember, I think I started a group with my friends. We call it a mastermind. Are you familiar with mastermind groups?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we meet basically once a week in the morning. We set like weekly goals, yearly goals, and we kind of hold each other accountable to like weekly actions and just kind of brainstorm stuff together. So I got a group of 4 guys together and we started doing that every week. And my first kid was born in 2014. So that's like the start of my family life, you know. And my wheels are starting to turn, like, okay, you know, we start to have more kids. My wife's going to want to come home. Am I going to be able to support? No, definitely not on a teacher salary. So I was like, I had a few ideas for different options. I started getting my admin degree. I was doing the photo video stuff. And then I also had heard a podcast with Pat Flynn, who's like the guy that runs the Smart Passive Income website. He interviewed some teachers that were from Kentucky that had basically done exactly what I did. Like they just started creating unit plans, lesson plans, selling teacher resources. They'd actually quit their jobs and were just doing it full time now. Shane and Jocelyn Sams, so shout out to them. Flip Lifestyle is their company, and they basically just help people create businesses. So I don't remember all the timing of everything, but I do remember sitting with my guys at Mastermind and being like, hey guys, here's my ideas. These are, you know, the 3 options I have. What do you think I should do? And they were all like, dude, you need to do the PE specialist thing. Like that's, like you were saying, it allows you to be all in with teaching and business at the same time. Like the work that you put in on your business is going to help you become a better teacher. The work that you put in as a teacher is going to help your business grow because you're going to be more, educated about best practices and stuff like that. And that was the hard part about being a teacher and then having a side gig. Is like, I want to learn more about photography and video stuff, but like I have this thing 40 hours a week teaching, and it's hard to do both, you know? And so it was a really good fit for that. And so right around that time when I was making that decision, the people from the Smart Passive Income, Shane and Jocelyn Sams, that's when they launched Flip Lifestyle, which was basically like, we're going to make courses. They're going to teach you how to do what we did. Like we're going to show you how to build a website, how to sell resources. And I can't remember how much the original, I think it was like $400 was how much it was originally or something like that. And at the time I was like, oh my goodness, like I don't know if I should do this. And I talked to my family. I was at the beach on a vacation. I was like thinking about it, you know, and my brother and my sister-in-law and my mom were like, you should do it. You'd be good at it. Like just jump in. What's the worst that could happen? And so then like the next week I bought the course, and that was when I started building pspecialist.com. And the rest is history. I just stuck with what their kind of blueprint was for how to build a business, how to create resources for the first like 2 or 3 years. And they would have, forums and webinars and support. So anytime I had a question, they were kind of the ones that helped me speed up my learning curve. I think I could have done everything I've done, but it would have taken twice as long. Like if you pay people that have already done it to help you, you're going to speed up your learning curve a lot. Which is kind of what the PE specialist is trying to do too. Like I'm trying to help. It's a resource that I wish I'd had when I started teaching. If I had somebody that I could have jumped in with that would show me what I'm trying to show everybody else, it would have helped me kind of speed up my career as a teacher a little bit too. So that's kind of the
Ben, I took
the genesis.
I took a piece. Yeah, I love it. I took a piece, and I just want to read this word for word because I'm like, this could not have been said any better. And this is you speaking on your website, and it says, he has a passion for kids, that being you, Ben, and teaching quality physical education lessons that will empower students to be the best they can be. Being a PE teacher is such a great opportunity to have a positive impact on the kids that you teach. Amen to that. But his hope is to also impact more students by providing resources and ideas to teachers. So that's that next layer that we're talking about. The reason he started this website is to share knowledge, inspire teachers, add value to the phys ed community, and help solve some of the problems that teachers are struggling within schools today. The site is dedicated to helping you become a better teacher. And then finally, the site was created to help teachers save time, learn to become more effective at their craft, and promote quality physical education in schools everywhere. It makes Ben smile to think that he might be a small part of kids all over the world falling in love with sports, exercise, and fitness. And I remember reading that line. I'm like, yep, he gets it, because in just for me in life, I always say some people get it, some don't. And the people that don't, it's hard to get them over to this side. But the people that get it, it's like I can support that. And so that's why I support what you do. And so I'm curious of what the timeline was for you, because you have it all covered, right? You have the YouTube present, obviously Instagram, and this is part of business. You got to be able to cover it all. But take me through what your sequence is. I imagine maybe the blog and website were first. What came in succession?
So for me, I think the most natural thing for me to do is make videos. So for me, once I started YouTube, I pretty much would just come up with a video idea, make a video, and then create a blog post around that video. So for me, it's a lot easier. I can make a video in 5 minutes. If I try to write a blog post with the exact same content from the video, it just takes 4 hours. Whereas if I make the video, I transcribe it into the blog. That's just what works for me better. It's weird. It's weird to me. I'm finding out more as you grow older. You realize the things about you that you thought were natural is just totally unnatural for everybody else. I don't have any people want to pull a camera up and take a video or take photos of me. It's I don't even think twice about it. But a lot of people kind of have that issue where they're talking to the camera and stuff like that, where I've been making videos since I was probably 12 years old with my parents, VHS camera, so I always grew up being into that. And so that's kind of where I started, was YouTube. And Joey Fife, who's the guy that runs the physicaleducator.com, was one of the first people that I saw who was doing, he was creating PE content online, and he's the one that convinced me to get on Twitter. And I guess that was probably in 2013, the year before I started the blog. So I jumped on Twitter. I wasn't very familiar with it, but I just kind of created a PE account. And once you learn how to use social media for your profession, it just opens up the world to so many resources. The way I try to describe it to people that aren't on social media when I go to PE conferences, because you always have, it's crazy to me still, when I ask people to raise their hands, it's half the people are still not on social media, which I understand the mindset of not wanting to have your life sucked away and not wanting to compare yourself to others and all that stuff. But imagine that you had a window into the most passionate teachers in the whole world, into their gyms, into their activities and their minds and their thoughts. And all you had to do was just look in that window for 5 minutes a day to see what everybody was thinking about. And that's kind of the way I view Instagram and Twitter, and social media is just, it's a window into you getting to personally, figure out who you want to have influencing you. Now, obviously got to be wise about the people that you follow and not follow negative people that are going to bring you down or whatever. But anyways, as soon as I figured that out, it doesn't matter. I think I started with YouTube and then Twitter, but to me, it doesn't matter what social media you're on. It's all the same. It's just attention and connection, whatever social media is popping, I'll post the same stuff I post on all the other ones. I'll jump on and do the same thing. I haven't really, I know TikTok is kind of the new hot thing now, but I've pretty much just been reposting the same kind of stuff I post on Twitter and Instagram on TikTok. It's not really, I'm not popular as a PE teacher on TikTok yet, but
that's okay. I think you've done.
You can't do it
well.
all, You can't do it all.
Yeah, you can't do it all, and that's the kind of the Gary Vaynerchuk model, is being able to take one thing and then just repurpose it for all your different channels and stuff. And it's funny, I had to say that you mentioned Pat Flynn, because Pat Flynn actually was one of the very first podcasts that I listened to that got me excited about doing a podcast. So when you said Pat Flynn, I'm like, oh my gosh, smart passive income. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, he's like started so many people on that like smart passive income journey, the online business journey. He's a great guy.
Yeah. So as we close up this first segment, there's one more piece of this. Is 2016, you launch a membership, and I'm very curious about this because this is a space that I'm in. I'm actually working with someone that's similar to the people that you had mentioned, and it's about launching, either a membership or a mentorship or some kind of program and stuff. And I have to say, it's a little bit more challenging than I thought, because when you take something you're doing, so for example, I'm trying to do something where I teach how to run my basketball camp. Okay, it's not just your normal basketball camp, and it's really difficult when you sit down and you're like, okay, I know it, right? I know it like the back of my hand, but now being able to convey that information to someone else is a totally different story. You did it with a membership. So basically, you offer a lot of free material, but it was cool because I remember when I signed up for the membership, you did take it obviously a level deeper. Like we had all access to everything that you did. Talk to me about building that membership and maybe what challenges and what victories you've had with it.
Yeah. I was kind of against the membership, honestly, at the beginning. Like I didn't, the idea of asking people to sign up to continuously pay for something seemed kind of like who am I to ask people to keep paying me every year for something, Yeah. But like I said, just the mentorship of the Flip Lifestyle, Shane and Jocelyn, they had just swapped to that membership model. And that was kind of before, like, I feel like now everybody's doing a membership, everybody's doing a subscription, it's like everywhere now. But the real thing that convinced me of it was that you're allowing people to buy in to something they believe in. So, if somebody believes in what you're doing, they're not going to have any issues subscribing to a service, and they can cancel anytime they want to, and what it does for you is, instead of having to have this constant churn of like, you create a product, you put it out, you market it, then you create a new product, you put it out, you market it, then you got to keep on doing that same thing over and over again. It kind of lets you just have this one focus of, this is my deal, I'm going to keep it real simple, and I'm going to keep adding to it and add as much value as I can to it. And it allows you to kind of create a cool community too, which I thought I was into that too, was the ability to try to create a community around it. But really, the main thing that sold me on it was when I heard them talking about taking the stress off of having to do continuous product launches, and like that how much attention that would take away from you actually creating resources and running your business and taking care of your customers and your clients. When I heard them talking about that, I was like, yeah, that actually does make a lot of sense. And so I decided to try it out. I launched a little beta group at the beginning, and I had literally created nothing yet. I mean, I had like my own, like you're saying, I had my own ideas and stuff. Like I had stuff on paper, but it wasn't ready to go out to somebody else where you would give it to them and they wouldn't have 1,000 questions about it. Like when you give something to somebody else, you got to assume they know nothing. You got to explain everything in detail. And so I basically said, hey guys, I'm going to have these 3 units done. And let me know if you want to sign up. I think 30 people signed up. Okay. So and I was at the beach with my family, and I kept getting these little dings. Like every one I got, I was like, yes, I just got another sign up, another $90. And my family was like, people are paying you money online? That's crazy. So that was the beginning of it. And then I kind of got that group together, got some feedback from them. And the membership was basically just a forum, and I just had links to stuff. I don't know if we had upgraded to the new website yet when you were in the membership, but it used to be very, very basic. It was just basically a forum, download links, people could ask questions and stuff like that. And then from there, we just, we started growing it. I launched it at a higher price point during the next school year after we kind of worked out the kinks with that first little group of 30 people. And then after a year, we increased the price because we had added a lot of new resources and pretty much had a full year curriculum at that point. And that was when we just had I can't remember the numbers, but it was a big influx. When I sent the email, it was like, hey, the price is going up to this. You got 2 days, 48 hours. Just wanted to let you know. It was crazy, man. I want to say it was over 100 people sign up in 3 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And that was, we had been, I can't remember how many people we had on our email list at that point, but we had been, like you were saying, shooting out free content. I mean, we had been trying to provide as much value as possible and building that relationship and building trust and stuff like that for a long time. So I guess that's why people were willing to jump in, but it was really affirming and really cool to see that happen. And that was when I was, because the cool thing, like your original question about the membership, when you have a certain number of people in your group that are on, at least, most of them are going to renew. You can figure out your numbers of how many people are going to cancel every year and all that stuff. But you can plan things, you can plan to pay somebody to do your technology stuff for you. You can plan to pay somebody to edit your podcast for you or to do some illustrations. And so it just allows you to kind of invest more into the products that you're offering and provide more value to your members and your customers and stuff, which is cool. So,
well, and I remember, Ben, you also had the piece too, because here's the piece I'm thinking about, that is most important to me is I want to be able to see other people use the recipe that I have in other areas, but I want to be there for them if they need it. And so I know that was a piece, maybe you didn't publicize it, but you always said, if you have any questions, because I think I emailed you a couple of times hey, can you explain this a little bit or whatever?
Yeah.
But talk about that personal piece, because I think that's that final cog in the wheel where it's just that, brings it all together. Because if they know that you're going to respond to something that they bought, it's that's the instant connection, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. And we tell, in the membership, me and Marcus are in there at least every other day answering questions and responding to people. And like you were saying, man, that the way I want the membership to feel is if you ask for something and I don't have a resource around it, if I have a Google Doc that has some ideas, I'll give it to you. It's my clipboard to yours in the membership. You're my homies and I will take care of you as much as I can. So that's kind of the way I want it to feel for sure. It's harder as it gets a little bit bigger, and that's why Marcus has kind of come on to help me, and he's the perfect fit for we think the same way, we have the same philosophy. He kind of helped me create most of the stuff. I hired a virtual assistant for a little while from the Philippines, and it was good sometimes, and a lot of times it was just really frustrating. The communication was off, the cultural differences, and it just wasn't very reliable. And then trying to teach somebody that's not a PE teacher, that's not familiar with phys ed, a lot of things about PE, those just didn't work, So after that experience, I was like, Marcus, man, I need some help. And so I think that was about 2 years ago. He's been in with me since then. So yeah.
Well, that is terrific, folks. That's just the first segment, and we've got another one coming your way. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're just going to talk about Ben's classroom. What does it look like? Now, the cool thing is we are going to put all the links in the show notes, and I encourage you to check them out. So it'll be to his YouTube channel, it'll be to the website and everything. But in terms of videos, Ben has amassed, it probably is in the thousands. It's maybe in the hundreds, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of videos. And it's not just videos of games. He does other things too that really help teachers out there, including myself. Like I said, I was a member for 5 years. So we'll take that break and come back with more of the PE specialist, Ben Landers. Don't go anywhere. All right, first segment in the books with Ben Landers. Of course, more to come. It is now time to thank our sponsors, our three wonderful sponsors, Pit Boss Jerky, R5 Stitch and Print, and Little Whale Swim School. The first two that I mentioned have been with me since day one, all 112 episodes. So a big shout out to Pit Boss Jerky. Joe Green, the presence is slowly starting to happen. It used to be you just call them on the order board, which you can still do because there are 12 amazing flavors. 916-769-6807. But if you're in the Sacramento area, you can now find Pit Boss Jerky as it is, in person, not with Joe, but the beef jerky in Amy's Hardware. 2 Sacramento locations, new location up in El Dorado Hills. They are also in Knee Deep Brewery in Auburn, and I know there's some other locations that will soon be available. Also want to thank Joe because he actually developed a flavor that is named right after this program. It is called Experience the Buzz. Some of my other favorites include Raspberry Apple Chipotle, and I know a very popular one amongst the people out there that love Pit Boss Jerky would be Island Teriyaki. So definitely check it out. Again, 769-6807. Area code 916. Also want to thank R5 Stitch and Print. Yep, they too have been here since day one. Troy Rousey doing a great job and really banging out some great business here in the Sacramento area, including what we do here on Experience the Buzz and stuff I do for Buzzard Ball. They do specialize in screen printing and embroidery with high precision stitching and large format printing. That is the recipe to their success. They will also design and create a portfolio with virtual mock-ups for you to choose from. So giving you that visual. I'm a visual guy. Really love that. And of course, if you have any company swag out orders you're trying to take care of, look no further than R5 Stitch and Print. How do you get in touch with them? Well, the website's always a good start, r5print.com. That's very simple. Or you can call locally here in Sacramento at 916-454-3773. And finally, we want to thank Little Whale Swim School. Anya Hall, the proud owner of this great swimming establishment. In fact, they are the premier swim facility here in Sacramento, located at 4106 El Camino Avenue. You can find them at littlewhaleswim.com. They are year-round, okay? So it's not just a summer thing, although summer is just around the corner. You can get ready for swim team now. You need a great rainy day energy burn because we have had some rain here. You can come on in and swim. It's warm because they're indoors. Nice warm pool for you. And they're also hiring. So with the summer around the corner, as I mentioned, year-round and part-time positions are available. You can't go wrong. littlewhaleswim.com. Again, located at 4106 El Camino Avenue. All right, that's a big thank you to our sponsors. And again, we're very appreciative. And if you'd like to get on board, you can do so by just checking out the link on buzzardball.com, and I'll make sure I take care of you. Now, let's get back to our conversation with the one, the only, Ben Landers.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode of Experience the Buzz by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. It means everything. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Ben Landers is with us. Yes, we're going outside of the state of California to a man who graduated from the University of South Carolina, teaches in South Carolina 16 years. He's better known as the PE specialist, but his day-to-day job is he's a PE teacher, K through 5. So tell us about the school that you do teach at, like how many classes you teach, and we'll just kind of get a feel for what your space is and the kids that you get to teach.
Yeah, man. We so when I got to the school, we were at about 750 kids, and that was 16 years ago. And we've just slowly declined. When COVID hit, we had a lot of kids that went virtual for a little while, and they came back. But now I think we're at around 500. So, going from 750 to 500 is a pretty big difference. But I really love like the smaller amount of kids because it just makes it so much more manageable. It's not as crowded. It's, everybody's names a lot easier. There's more space. And so we're a school of 500 kids. We have PE once a week for 50 minutes, and the kids basically go to a different related arts class each day. So they'll go to like a computer class, a French class, okay, music, PE, or library. Or no, did I say art? I think it's art.
You did, yeah.
Okay. So they have a different related art once a week. So I get to see the whole school in a week, basically. So I'll see the 500 kids once every week. And it's a great school, man. We have a really good culture. We have a great administration. I've had, I think, 5 principals, and the one we have now is just he's amazing. He's such a good guy, so supportive. He loves kids. So I'm really just happy to be there. I'm going to stick around. I moved out to my school. We used to live downtown, and then when my wife got pregnant with our fourth child, we decided to make the move to the suburbs. So we're moving like 5 minutes from my school now, so it's real convenient. And I'm just like you were saying earlier in the first part, like I'm all in for real now. Like I got my kids there. I'm going to my students' birthday parties because they're, the kids are having like class parties and stuff, and meeting all the parents. I had a kid it might have been last year actually, that said for the first time, she walked in, she was in kindergarten. She said, "Hey, you taught my dad when he was at River Springs." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm hitting that stage of my career." Wow.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a great school. It's the only, it's like between two highways, so there's only one neighborhood group that can actually walk to the school. So that's kind of the only downside. I like the schools where you have all the kids like pulling up on their bikes and walking to the school and stuff. I think that's really cool. We don't have too many walkers or bikers just because of that. Not really much access, but yeah, it's a great place, man. It's pretty. I wish I knew the numbers to tell you the numbers of like low income and all that stuff. I think we have about 20%, 25% low income, and I would guess about 20% minority. So it's a pretty well off school, but we do definitely have some kids that are in the lower income bracket. We got a decent amount of diversity, so I like it, man. It's a good mix.
Oh, it's good stuff. It's interesting because just to give you comparison, so I taught at a school, 250 kids. I did pre-K through fourth grade. We had the smaller class sizes, so it would range anywhere from 18 to I think my biggest was 30. Absolutely love this. Ben, you're going to love this. We had PE 4 times a week.
Wow.
Now, we had it for a half hour, okay? I know. They did something right in California, and we were one of the very few schools that did it that way. So you get it once a week, which means you really have to maximize your time. And so tell me like how a year lays out for you. I know you teach certain things and everything, but there's also the life skill element and everything. In a nutshell, how do you set up your year and just having them once a week to ensure that they're going to have the best PE experience possible?
Yep. Time is the enemy for all of our once a week PE people. It's just so hard to fit what you want in, and it's impossible to fit everything you want in. So the way I do it is just look at, I want to get the best bang for my buck in what I'm showing my kids. And so at our recess playground, we have a soccer field, we got a basketball court, we got a 4-square court. So those things I try to hit every year because I know kids have an opportunity to play every day at recess. And then the other things that I want to teach but I don't have time for, I will just rotate in every other year. So like we're doing tennis, and then next time we'll do gymnastics, and then next time we'll do spike ball. So I'll have those like subjects that are really fun that I wanted to introduce to my kids, but at the same time I just don't have time in the schedule to be able to make it work. Usually we do three week units, but then sometimes I'll do like a 2-week unit if it's a subject where you don't really need to go as deep, like frisbee throwing, where it's like you could just do 2 weeks on that and you'll be okay. Something like gymnastics, you might want to go 4 weeks. We just did jump rope. We went 4 weeks on jump rope because I really want to give the kids more time to practice, because then they can like see them master the skill and they get to see that improvement. It just means so much more to them. So I just, each year I block out those 3-week little increments, and then look at the year before to see what you taught on those like fringe subjects like spike ball, tennis, and trying to think with them, like volleyball. I don't know. There's like a few subjects where it's like I've elected that as a non-mandatory subject that I needed to get in every year. So I'll just rotate it every other year. So that's kind of how I do it.
Okay, and then obviously I think with any PE teacher, routine is always big, so when they come in, there's a specific way, and then doing something before you get to the activity. I would imagine you're the same, right? Big on routine, and if you are, which like I said, I'm sure you are, what is that routine that you use?
So we come in every day, and I used to actually only do this with kindergarten, first and second, and then after COVID, I just started doing it with everybody because we had so many behavior issues. But like they walk in the gym on the little black line by the door, and we always start with reviewing the big three, which is teachers talking, what are we doing? Listening. Got something to say, what should you do? Raise your hand. Hands and feet too. Yourself. So those are the three repeat offending issues that any teacher is going to deal with. If your kids can master those three things, you will probably have a great day. So we always review those three things, and then I'll have the kids do like a quick instant activity. We start out the year with walking on the walking lines, jogging lines, and then we'll switch up different locomotors. I'll put out like some footwork ladders or some hurdles, and then especially with my older kids, I'll like switch it up with some different activities that are based on whatever lesson we're doing that day. So like if we're doing a throwing lesson, I'll have them do some different throwing challenges as an instant activity and work in some cardio in that as well. And then we have a TV in our gym too. So I'll, because you're familiar with the resources, we create a lot of animated GIFs and videos and follow the leader stuff. So I'll work those in like for our instant activities as well, to make it easy for the kids. And we kind of always can fall back on that basic warm up, but then throughout the year, especially with classes that I know I can trust, we'll kind of make it a little bit more interesting. So.
All right, cool. And so what are the go-to, like, what are your go-tos? Like I had my fun games that like, if I was in a pinch and maybe wasn't feeling like 100%, had the go-to. What are Ben Lander's go-to activities or games with his kids?
Man, I have like probably one of those kind of games for each unit that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like if I have if the schedule's weird and I have a class for an extra time, it's like, sweet, well, I get to play this extra game that I didn't have time for, but it's really fun. We could try it out. Like we had an early release day today, and it was like in between units. So we just did a tag game. Tag games I like to do are noodle dance tag, fire and ice. Today we played a game called Everybody's It. So literally like everybody's it. You just try to tag everybody you can, be the last person standing. And then we did some stations. So, if I have a day where it's like a weird day, a lot of times what I'll do is play a quick like tag game and then do 4 stations based on whatever units we're doing that time. So we just finished jump rope. So I had a jump rope station. We're about to go into soccer and basketball. So I had a soccer station and a basketball station. And then we did a 4-square station just because I wanted to play 4-square with the kids. So I was over there the whole time just beating kids in 4-square. Yeah, that's kind of what we did. If it's like a couple days and I just want to play a fun game, we'll usually do like a fun throwing game like Hula Hut Throwdown or Boom City or I don't know. It just depends on what unit we've done recently that I think the kids might remember or might need to work on again.
Yeah, that's great. And your teaching style too. Like, so when you were talking about in the opening segment, like you're inviting us into your classroom, and a lot of the videos you do is just you, but a lot of them that you do, it's with the kids. Like the kids are there and they are demonstrating, which I think is very powerful, right? Because you guys see them demonstrate what it is you are actually talking about. So talk to me about like your style. Like I know what it is, but I would like you to share with people out there, what is your teaching style?
I think my style, I heard that like one of the parents was telling me how their kid described me, like when they were asking him about the other day, and it was like, yeah, he's a lot of fun, but like you really got to like make sure you do the right thing. Because like and that's how and I was like, that's like the perfect explanation of how I want kids to feel. Like I want you to feel like I'm on your team and we're gonna have a blast. But if you disrupt the instruction, I'm not going to let you get away with it. I'm going to hold you accountable. And so that's kind of the balance, that like fine line of like the art of teaching that you try to walk is like, you want your kids to love you. You want them to know you love them. You want to have a blast with your kids, but you also want them to know that if they do the wrong thing and they try to like class clown and mess up the whole lesson, then you're going to, hold them accountable. So, I guess I would probably describe my teaching in that way.
As described by a kid.
As described by the kid, yeah.
Perfect. So I have to ask this because this was always big for me. I am so grateful to have been a teacher for as long as I was, 26 years. And I would always say, made me a better person, made me a better husband, made me a better father, just made me a better human being. How would you speak to that? You've got 4 kids, have been married and everything. I'm sure it's been priceless for you as well.
Yeah, man, I have been just so grateful. Like, especially, I think, during COVID, I think everybody was like looking for a way to quit their job and just depressed and stuff. And then when things started to pick back up, you went through so much pain and hurt. You watched a lot of friends or people that die. And then to get back to normal, like every day, I feel like we're slowly getting back to normal at my school. And I'm watching my kids. Now I got my kids at my school with me, which is a whole nother level of just gratitude. Like I'm just so thankful to be able to, that my kids get to see what I do. Like how cool is that your kids get to see what you do? Not many dads have their kids at work with them and get to see them in action. And then getting to keep an eye on my kids, getting to know every single friend. When my kids come home and talk about their day and they talk about what happened, I know exactly what kids they're talking about, so that insider info, man, I love that. And then there's so many times during my day when I'm teaching, when I just have that moment and I'm just like, I can't believe I get to do this. Like I'm getting to teach a kid how to jump rope for the very first time, and like they just got it, and it's like the best part of their day. That's so cool, Yeah. I would rather be doing nothing else in the school system, that's for sure. I think PE teachers have the best job by far. And you get to be active all day. I'm getting to mess around and have fun with my kids. We get a lot more freedom than most classroom teachers get to kind of be creative and develop our own curriculum. So I'm super grateful to be able to be a teacher, and definitely, like you said, you become a better parent, and you become, as you have kids, you become a better teacher too, because you have more empathy for the parents, and you understand what they're going through on the other side of it too. And then also, man, just, being a teacher, you get to know what's going on in the kids' lives. Like at those meetings, when you're hearing about the hard situations that kids are going through and how their electricity is getting cut off, or how their parents died, or they're in these foster care situations, like that. Also, you're like, man, like that is, I couldn't imagine having to go through that when I was 6 years old, so that too, just another level of gratitude on top, just seeing all the hard things that kids go through on a daily basis, and being able to be hopefully a part of like lifting them up just a little bit, and encouraging them. So I love that, man. It's definitely a great career to go into, and very, very rewarding.
Tell me if this is a fair statement, and if you're wired this way. I love being a PE teacher because I got to see everybody. And I did pre-K through 4th grade, but I was also the intramurals director for 3rd through 8th grade. I was the athletic director, so I got a little touch of everybody, and I love that. Like that lent to my personality. I had so much respect for classroom teachers because I would always say, I don't think I would last. I feel like I would get bored if I just had one class. I think I could shift myself, but I was always so grateful to be a PE teacher and speak to what you said too, the freedom of really being in a unique situation where, like you said, you could creatively create your own deal. So is that a fair statement to say? Are you kind of wired that way?
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially some classes, you drop those classes off, and you're like, I'm going to pray for you. Like, I don't know how you spend 7 hours with these kids every day, and then some classes I'm like, man, I could be with them all day. That'd be great. But that's the lottery. You never know what kids you're going to get. So it's cool too. Like being able to watch kids grow up. Like I get to see my kids when they're in 4K all the way to 5th grade. That's 6 years. So just getting to see that is so cool. I actually just started a project 2 years ago of taking a picture with every 4K and kindergarten kid when they come into the school. Yeah. And my plan is to, for the kids that stay, a lot of kids leave. For the kids that stay when they're in 5th grade, I want to print a picture for their graduation present of me with them when they're in 5th grade, and then me with them in kindergarten. And I don't know what kind of message I'm going to put, like, look at how much you've grown up, or so proud of your teacher, whatever. But it's just really cool. We have a day too. It's the graduation walk, where in our district, if kids are graduating in the district that also came to our elementary school, towards the end of the year, they let the seniors come in with their cap and gown, and they walk the halls, and all the kids in the school line up and clap for them. And dude, that's one of my favorite days of the year, seeing those kids well, they're not kids anymore, they're adults, walking down the halls that you taught when they were in kindergarten. Just like, it's just so cool. And then they get to come into the gym. They're like, it's so small in here, you know, it seems so much bigger when I was a kid. But yeah, I love that, man. I love getting to like walk with kids for that long period of time. I do envy a little bit how deep classroom teachers get to go with their kids sometimes. Because you can't go, like, the kind of relationship a classroom teacher has with their students is like more like a parent, you know? I mean, they're spending more time with the kids than their parents are, honestly. So that's a really cool thing, to be able to go deep with a kid like that, but I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't trade with them. But I do kind of like, I am a little envious of that, just because I think it's really cool to have that deep relationship, even if it's only with 20 kids. But I would rather have that, you know, relationship over 6 years with 500 kids as they go through the whole program.
Yeah, just in that statement right there, I mean, listeners, I mean, you could see, or viewers, wherever you're viewing us or listening to, the passion is there. And that's what I love about Ben. And like I said, that as soon as I came across Ben, I just knew. And when I dove in, I'm like, oh man, this is just incredible. So it's so good to see what you've done, Ben, and what you've put together. And the last piece of this is that mentor program. Like, we've been talking about kids for this segment, but what you have done for other teachers, and I included, has been incredible. And so talk about the rewards of that. Like, you got to be pretty proud of that, because like you said, when you were looking for resources, and that wasn't many years ago, there was nothing out there. I know for me, when you mentioned the books at PE conventions, I still have all my books, and you would just pluck from there. And then when online got popular, you do that as well. But really, you were kind of the person that kind of got this thing going, I feel like, because I never came across anybody else. But talk about the rewards that you have felt with this extra level of helping other teachers.
Man, it's you know, the same thing that keeps you going teaching with the kids, like when they are so pumped that they shot a basket for the first time. Same thing with teachers when they tell you that, you know, you saved them on their second year and they were about to quit teaching, and then they found your resources and now they're like, everybody's raving about their program. And I get a lot of those kind of messages from people. It's really, really, awesome. Really rewarding. I have a little, anytime I get a message like that, I clip it and take a screenshot and drop it in this little document I call the Jar of Awesome. And then, dude, whenever I'm feeling like burnt out, I just scroll through that doc, and that just picks me right up, man. Because like you're saying, it's, you know, I think the reason teachers go into teaching is, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. You know, it's a fun job for you and me, PE teaching. It's a fun job. It fits your personality. But what keeps you there is knowing that you're making an impact, you know? And that's the same thing with this, like knowing that I'm able to impact others and affect like PE programs I don't even know about in Australia is just the coolest thing. So that's that's kind of why, like, creating resources for the program, anytime we got a question and I didn't have an answer, that was like the next thing on the list. Like, we would create a resource, because the next time I got that question, I wanted to be able to give them a video, a breakdown, a PDF, the whole thing, you know? And so anytime somebody asks a question and all I have to do is send them a link to something I made that's going to like just break the whole thing down for them, it's just such a rewarding feeling to know that you kind of like added that much value to somebody's life. So
the piece that I don't know about, I have to imagine that you probably do go to PE conventions and are probably a speaker in some sort of way, but I'm curious about the public speaking aspect. Has that part happened for you, where maybe you're traveling to places? Have you done a TED Talk? I mean, I could just see big things for you when it comes to this space, because you can speak to it.
Yeah, I have gotten a couple invites. Excuse me. I have not for a TED Talk, but just, you know, people that are not even in the PE space that are like, hey, you know, we wanted to know if you'd come keynote this thing or you know, come talk about at this educational conference. And it's just never felt like, I don't know. I just, to me, it's very easy talking to PE teachers. You know, like I feel a deep connection with you if you're a phys ed teacher before I even meet you. And it's so easy for me to like share my heart, and we can connect on so many different levels. Whereas if I did a talk at an elementary PE conference or like a just general education conference, it's like, man, I would just have to rework like everything to make it more general and like to talk about it. And I don't know if it might've been when you were already out, but like I do this series called Teacher Tips, once a week Teacher Tips. I tried to make that a little bit more general, because like that was when I was kind of thinking like, man, you know, people are asking, maybe I should start thinking about ways I can repurpose content, because like you said, man, you never know, like you might be able to inspire some random third grade teacher and then like help them enjoy their job better just by some mindset hacks or whatnot. But for me with speaking right now, I got 4 little kids, and so I have the boundary of only doing one conference every 3 months, and that's kind of just what me and my wife have come up with what's manageable for us at this time. And so I'm not gonna give up a PE conference for a random conference I don't even know about, just because PE conferences are just so much fun for me. Like it's like you get to hang out with your people, and I get to hear stories like you're saying, like you've been at my membership and you used all the things for your students. Like that's the kind of stuff that fills me up, and I know for a fact I can also fill other people up at a PE conference. So haven't branched out yet, but maybe one day, we'll see. When my kids are a little bit older, I might go for something like that.
Yeah, you got plenty of time in front of you. You know, when we talk about the future, there's so much out there that's going to be available and so many paths. I just feel like you're a kind of person that could do anything. And so I would not be surprised if there was something different down the line. And, you know, the last piece of this is, you know, we've talked about like games and, you know, tips and everything like this. But the big thing about being a PE teacher, and my huge mantra through my basketball program and my PE program, is I just want to equip you to be a better person. You don't have to be the best basketball player. You don't have to be the best jump roper. These are skills, yes, but the most important one is that you're a good human being. And I feel like you definitely weave that throughout what you do.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're just teaching life skills all day through sport and activity, you know?
Yep.
I totally agree with that being like the number one thing, especially right now with kids having so many social emotional problems and not getting to socialize as much for so long. That's like what I talk about all day with my students. It's like, anytime we're doing a game, how is this going to help you be successful in life? You know, if you can't work together with other people, are you going to be able to be successful? No, you're not. You know, if you don't know how to be kind to somebody, are you going to be able to be successful? No, you're not. You can relate it into so many different ways. I sometimes with my older kids, I'll talk to them about like teamwork and cooperation, and how I'm like, you guys like to make money? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you want to make a lot of money one day? They're like, yeah, you know? And you're like, do you think you're going to be able to like make a lot of money if you don't know how to work together with other people? You know? And there's just so many ways you can like help kids understand that. Yeah, that's what I talk to my kids about all day. It's just life skills, like you're saying. So important.
Love it. Love it. Just so you know, people, 39,000 subscribers on YouTube. Okay, he's got videos for games, teaching tips, management tips, which are really big. He's also got the podcast, which is the Phys Ed Q&A show with his good friend Marcus. He's got 14,000 followers on Instagram. You can follow at the PE Specialist. And then, of course, the website with the membership that we've been talking about, it's at thepespecialist.com. Again, we're going to drop all this in the show notes. And we're going to take our final break. And when we come back, we're just going to do a rapid fire thing. Got some fun questions I wanted to ask Ben, and then we will call it a day. So don't go anywhere. More to come with the PE Specialist, Ben Landers, right here on Experience the Buzz. 2 segments down, 1 to go. That's right. We're going to have a little rapid fire coming up here. After this break, want to thank our sponsors, Little Whale Swim School, along with R5 Stitch and Print and Pit Boss Jerky. Now, all 3 of the owners of these fine small business establishments here in Sacramento have been featured on this program. So Anya Hall of Little Whale Swim School was featured in episode 6. So what we're talking about there is we're telling her story, right? How did she get to be the owner of Little Whale Swim School? Very fascinating. You want to check that out. You can check out Little Whale at littlewhaleswim.com, and they are located at 4106 El Camino Avenue. Then we go on to Pit Boss Jerky. Joe Green, who was featured in episode number 26. We tell his story. It's quite fascinating. I just call him the mad scientist. He is the pit boss. 12 amazing flavors of beef jerky that are available. Yes, good stuff. And then R5 Stitch and Print, Troy Rousey, featured in episode 25. So just before Joe, he's got an amazing story as well. And that's the beauty of it. And you can find R5 Stitch and Print for screen printing and embroidery needs at r5print.com or call at 916-454-3773. I didn't drop in there for Pit Boss Jerky. You can get on the order board. Very easy to order the beef jerky. It is the best. I've got a lifetime supply that's in my midst, and it's just beautiful, and it never gets old. 916-769-6807, and be sure to ask for the flavor named after this program called Experience the Buzz. Now, let's get to our final segment featuring Ben Landers, the PE specialist, right here on ETB.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss an episode of Experience the Buzz by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. It means everything. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. It is the final segment. This has been so much fun. Like I said from the top of the show, truly an honor to have Ben Landers on. He's a PE teacher out of South Carolina, but has developed this program. He started as a PE teacher in 2007, but in 2014 came up with kind of this curriculum, the PE specialist, website, a blog, started doing videos, YouTube channel, has an Instagram presence, and really has been the voice for a lot of PE teachers that are stuck. And it does happen. Any teacher out there will tell you and know exactly what what I'm talking about when you're in that first or second year. You need someone to kind of outlet to or be able to draw resources. Ben has done that in the PE segment. But right now it is time for rapid fire. And I'm curious, living in South Carolina, what are your sports team allegiances?
So for me, man, it's the South Carolina Gamecocks. That's my alma mater. I got two degrees from there, so that's my blood is garnet. That's where I go. I don't watch a lot of pro sports, so I can't even claim allegiance to a team. It's just we cheer for the Gamecocks at my house. That's what we do.
Okay, so that's interesting. So it truly is a college town, because I'm like, okay, Ben went to a football game or baseball game or basketball game. Like, what would be the nearest place for you that you would go?
Like for a pro game? Or like a...
Yeah, a pro game.
Pro game, probably Charlotte, maybe. Charlotte's like an hour away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Charlotte, okay. All right, well, that's interesting. So that's cool. It's a college town. We'll go with that. That definitely answer the questions. Biggest myth about PE and or PE teachers?
The biggest myth is the old saying, those who can't do, teach, and those who can't teach PE. I think everybody's heard that one at least once.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. Okay, I got to throw this on you, because my wife, for years, she was very happy. She was sad that I was leaving teaching, but the one thing she was happy about, she said, hopefully your wardrobe will get better, because I always wore PE gear, athletic director gear. Is that the same for you?
I'm in track pants all the time. Like, my wife's like, we're going on a date. Like, can you change clothes, please? I'm like, this is really comfortable. Yeah, I'm 100% always in PE gear.
All right, favorite family outing? Like, you've got 4 kids, been married, still married and stuff. What is the favorite family outing? I know you're an outdoorsman. You kind of mentioned that was kind of one of the initial businesses that you were hoping to start. But what does the Landers family like to do?
We do, I guess with the whole family, we would probably do like a hike or something like that. Because my youngest is not even 2 yet. So, I mean, where he's like in a backpack, we're hiking through the woods with him. But with my older ones, I'll take them on a paddleboard. We have 3 rivers in our city. So, we pack a cooler, get on the paddleboard, paddle out, hang out on some rocks, hit some rapids, and just enjoy a day on the water. That's kind of my favorite thing to do with my kids. So that's not the whole family. Usually, once my youngest one gets old enough, though, that will be kind of our thing. We're gonna drop a car. My older 2 already have kayaks. So we're headed that direction. I'm just not there yet.
All right. And so we're in the early part of 2023. What are some goals like that you've set for yourself? I know with the school year, usually that starts in September, but as you kind of look ahead, and like I said, now we're back to normal. We're feeling brand new. Hopefully we learned some things through COVID and everything that makes us better. What are some things that you're like looking forward to?
Well, so my 2023 goals are actually just habits. And okay. I've got a little habit tracker going this year. I got a little app that tracks. You have to like tap it each time you do the habit each day. Mm-hmm. So I have like my daily habits. So my daily habits right now are, I want to not snooze my alarm. So I've so far 100% no snoozes in 2023. It's funny too, because like just the little push, knowing that I'm gonna have to push the button, or I'm not gonna get to push the button if I snooze it, it kind of keeps me from snoozing it. So just that one little motivational thing has really helped me. The other things is I am running or biking twice a week, doing daily calisthenics like push-ups and pull-ups, doing daily prayer, read my Bible, and then doing one monthly unplanned adventure. So that's just anything that was kind of out of the ordinary. And then like one of my bigger fitness goals this year is, are you familiar with the Spartan race?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I've always wanted to do one. It's been on my goal list for like 3-4 years to just figure out a good time to do it. But we've been having kids for 4 years, man. It's just, we're kind of in that baby stage for so long. So we're finally getting out of it. My wife's getting a lot more into fitness and running and stuff. So this year I'm doing a Spartan trifecta, which is where you do the 5K race, the 10K race, and the 20K race all in 1 year. So I'm getting ready for that right now. That's one of my big fitness goals this year.
Way to go, Ben. That's good stuff. Okay. And then finally, just imparting like some wisdom, whether it be for brand new PE teachers or just teachers or just life in general. Like if you had to drop a pearl of wisdom, what would it be from Ben Landers?
Let's see. So many options to go here. I think my biggest thing is to learn to enjoy the journey over the destination. I think so many times we are so focused on the end goal or looking back and regretting something. And I think we miss out so much on enjoying our lives, enjoying our careers, enjoying the time with our kids, And I've just talked to so many people that are like in your situation where like you're retired and your kids are a little bit older, and they're always like, dude, don't blink. Like, don't blink. It's going to go by so fast. You hate stepping on the toys now, but in 20 years, you would give anything to have those toys back on your floor for just a day to like go back and enjoy it. And so I've just really focused the last couple of years on just enjoying my job, enjoying my family, and just being grateful for where I'm at. So I think if you can enjoy that process, even the grind of like work when it's hard and stuff like that, the challenge of it, I think that's a pretty big life hack that will kind of help you be successful and enjoy your life.
Well said, and enjoy life, right? A great way to finish the episode. Ben, I know I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Thank you. I mean, this just truly was an honor. It was everything I would hoped it would be and more. And I appreciate the work that you've done, and not only for the kids, because I know that's a given, but what you've done for teachers as well. So like you have touched a lot of lives, but that's what teachers do. And I love that you embrace it the way you do with the passion that you have. And, I always think of Cal Ripken, who said it's the teachers who should be the millionaires. And I know that hasn't happened, but it's those priceless moments that we do get that I think really enrich our lives. And I can see that you get that, and I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, man. And I appreciate those kind words. Good to connect with you. And, man, thanks for being a member for a little while there. Appreciate that support.
There you go. Yeah, and I'll keep pushing your name. No problem. I'll get people your way. So we're going to take another break. I'll come back with a final word. That's Ben Landers. Thank you for tuning in to Experience the Buzz. So there you have it. Ben Landers out of South Carolina, teaching PE, but just really taking it to another level. What a great conversation. When I was getting ready to do this podcast, a couple years ago and stuff, he was definitely on my list, but I knew it was going to be a Sacramento show. So I knew we had to get to that natural space of, okay, we're going to venture outside, and we're there. And I even told you we were going to go there because to me, it doesn't matter where you go, even though our spotlight is on Sacramento, there are so many great people out there that have amazing stories. And Ben, to me, primo, top shelf, good stuff. And so with that said, another episode of Experience the Buzz in the books. I really hope you enjoyed it. And of course, we'll be back and we'll be doing it again next week. I encourage you to check out our other stuff here under the umbrella of Experience the Buzz. And that would be First Look. That's right. We do that on the video side only. That's if you love heavy metal. It's good stuff, a lot of fun. And you can check us out there. And again, a big thank you to all the subscribers. And if you haven't done so, do so. It's very simple. You can do so on the screen if you're watching us. And on the audio side, you can do it as well on the platform that you are listening to. So that's all I got for now. Talk to you next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for joining Steve this week on Experience the Buzz. Steve would love to hear from you. Leave a review or contact Steve directly with any questions at scbuzzard@gmail.com. To see the other adventures of Steve Buzzard, be sure to visit buzzardball.com.